It is my great pleasure to call up Alex Lima.
Thank you. And it's an honor to be back with Andrea, who mentored me when at my beginning stages of teaching, when I didn't know how to put up a bulletin board. So like she said, my name is Alex Lima. It's an honor to be here with all of you. I want to begin by sharing a little bit about myself and my family, because it really has built who I am today, and encompasses, and it's because of them that I am who I am as a teacher. I was fortunate enough to grow up in a home with incredible parents and siblings. I have my mom and dad, and I never knew what a privilege it was to have a mom and dad until I arrived at the continuation high school. Most of the time, most of my kids in my class, if I ever asked, one may raise their hand that they have both parents, but usually it's none. My dad was an Air Force veteran, and my mother was a strict stay-at-home mom who made it her mission to change our family's path from one surrounded by gangs to one rooted in education. That decision, it really changed my family's story. It wasn't just her doing it by herself. It took people, educators, who really guided her into doing that for us. I have a brother and two sisters. We are all in education. We are all teachers. Two of us are married to, my husband is a counselor. My brother is married to a teacher. And so most of our conversations at our family gatherings are about students. And those conversations have really molded me into who I've become in my 30th year of teaching. I do have a niece who just joined us in the education world this year, and she's teaching middle school. I'm very proud of her. And I have one niece at UCLA doing research in education. She just got a scholarship for 4 years, and she is doing research in education, so she's kind of following in our footsteps after going to law school and deciding that's not what she wanted to do. I am married to an interventionist. He's been a principal. He's done a lot of things in admin, but decided to go back into working with students because most of us have a true passion to work with kids who have needs. So you can imagine what our conversations are like on a daily basis. I do have two amazing daughters who will be graduating this year from USC. One of them wants to go into psychology. She wants to help kids who are addicted to drugs. And I said, really, do you want to do that? And she's like, Mom, you raised me. I attended Hacienda La Puente schools. I did graduate from La Puente High School. I heard La Puente called out a lot today, and I'm a very proud graduate from there. I went to UC Riverside. And I returned to my home district where I taught I've been there my entire life except for the 4 years I went to college, of course. I started teaching with a 20-1 class size first came in. And I remember I was straight out of college. Like I said, I didn't know how to put up a bulletin board. And that was my first learning experience, putting up bulletin board. So teaching has been the best job ever, because no day is the same. For all of you who are educators that know that, we never know what we're going to walk into. We think that we have the greatest lesson plan, and it just doesn't turn out that way. Or we put something together in the morning because we didn't quite plan through the weekend, and it's the best lesson we've ever done. I was honored. Along the way, I was blessed with extraordinary teachers, some of whom I later had the honor of working alongside with. My family was mentored by many educators and school personnel, many of them who truly guided us to get us to where we were at. Ms. Rosa Lazardi, who helped fill out our college applications. She helped find the money that we needed to get to school. Esther Rodriguez, who helped guide my Spanish-speaking mom through our school system, and they became lifelong friends. So I dedicate like my education, my career to them. I wanted to give back in the same way that so many women once gave to my family. Women who took the time to guide my mother and siblings through education despite language barriers and the challenges of being first-generation college kids. We are here today because they believed in us before we believed in ourselves. I taught kindergarten through 12th grade and supported teachers in various roles at the district office. And while I stepped out of the classroom several times, my heart is in the classroom, and I always tend to just go back to the classroom. What ultimately led me to the continuation high school was my wonderful student named Anthony Garcia. I don't think he will ever know that he taught me more than what I helped. He taught me more and helped me more in learning what it is to work with kids who are needy and who have struggled or have trauma in their life, more than I could have ever helped him. Anthony was in 8th grade. I was placed in my kindergarten classroom many days because he was always on in-house suspension. They brought them to me because I put them to work with the needy kids in kindergarten so that they can learn how difficult it was to work with them. After a month, I learned about the trauma that he had experienced in his life. He was separated with his brother because the system believed that his brother would be better without him. After 12 homes that he was in, he was eventually placed in a group home. It was no wonder he was disengaged from school and didn't want to attend any of his classes. After working with him for about a month and guiding him back into the classroom, picking up work for him, taking him to one class at a time, he eventually was able to rejoin all the students at school and started attending all of his classes. I learned that I love working with kids like Anthony. While I love elementary, I really like working with the kids that I work with now. At the continuation high school, it's been a life-changing experience for me. I've been there I was at a community day school where kids are expelled for 4 years, and then I moved to the continuation the last 4 years. But I want to say about 95 to 99% of our students have experienced significant trauma in their lives. At the start of every quarter, many of my students walk in believing that they will sit quietly, disengaged, and fail once again, because that's what they've been conditioned to do. These are the students who have been in the corner, or they misbehave to hide the fact that they are struggling with learning. I use the tools from my elementary years to change their story. I don't just help students graduate, I give them the tools that they need to envision a future beyond survival after high school. Much of my work has been with young women who are missing a mother figure for many reasons. Anything from incarceration, many for abandonment or loss. My goal has always been to teach them the truth, and that is that they have the ability to write their own stories. I am blessed to have a job where I get to do what I love, which is truly teach. And as a bonus, I get to mentor young women, helping them change how they see themselves and believe in their own unique voices and strengths. I create a safe space where students can be seen, heard, and supported with the resources they need to succeed, not just in school, but in life. I connect them to resources that will lead them to success. I don't have all of the answers, and I always tell them that, but I do have resources. Our district, our schools are full of resources, but all they need is someone to help guide them to the right resource. And I try my best to do that for them. When I don't find the resource, I make my husband, Mr. Lima, find the resource out. So he's constantly researching and finding things for me and meeting up. I don't know how many meetings we've had at junior colleges looking for different programs that my kids could attend. I do teach ELD, and yes, ELD is my passion. But when I am asked how I get my students' scores to where they are today, most of the time, I really don't know how to respond. I teach just like all the other teachers because I know we have wonderful teachers in this world. I truly believe it's the connections that I make with my students that help them succeed. When I ask them to do well, for some reason they just do. They test all of the tests because I've asked them to. But I tell them not to do it for me. I tell them to do it for themselves, to prove to themselves that they are capable of success and that what they once learned, which was failure, now they are learning to be successful. These young kids have changed their story and they began to create a new path for themselves, a path that we couldn't have done alone. I have a whole team at my continuation school that helps me do that for them. As women educators, we don't just teach content, but we have the opportunities to change stories, to build students that will be successful. We speak success into students who have never been told that they are capable of having a future. We navigate futures that students cannot yet see for themselves. I want to end by by sharing and I'm gonna try to read it without crying. This November, it's always before Thanksgiving, and the kids don't want to do nothing. Like it's the day before the holidays. So we watched a video, and the video talked about being thankful. And when you write notes, like when you write a thankful note, it helps with depression, which a lot of our kids have. It helps with anxiety. And it was one of those lessons that I kind of just put together real quick. And it was an amazing lesson. My kids were writing letters, they were translating them to Spanish for their parents. It was amazing, but at the end of one of my classes, one of my students, Mia, said, I wrote a letter for you. I said, oh no, it was for somebody else, Mia. And she said, but you're by someone else. I didn't realize why she was handing me the letter. And I've read it at least 100 times by now. She didn't commit suicide, but she was in rehab after trying. And so she just came out of rehab this last week. This was the letter that she wrote to me. Dear Miss Lima, thank you for never giving up on me. and being one of the only teachers that truly cares. Thank you for always listening to me and giving me motherly advice. It really does mean more than you think. I would have never imagined having a teacher like you before coming to Valley. You help me and you lift me up. You lift me up consistently without knowing it. You are more than my biological mother has ever been. You do more than she's ever done for me. Even when I'm out of here and I graduate, I will always remember you. Believe me, I won't forget you. I'm gonna make you proud, but just give me a little time. Love me up. So I do what I do every day because of these letters. I have a little box, and when I feel like, oh, I can't do this anymore, I take out some of those letters and I read them to remind me. But I want to just say thank you for changing lives every day. Please don't forget that in our world, with our words and actions, we plant seeds that change futures. So never stop planting and never give up on our kids who are tomorrow's future. Thank you.